This news update is brought to you by...
So, I'm meeting Rico later. Gotta check in with the girls, but first, let me check my usage on the MyLime app. Now, what should I wear? Hashtag sexy. He's here.
Welcome to the Barbados Today Afternoon Update for Wednesday, March 18th. I'm Fernella Wedderburn. Good afternoon. We begin with an important development in the ongoing investigation into last Sunday's fatal shooting of a 57-year-old Selwyn Knight. Barbados Today understands that Police Chief Tyrone Griffith has handed over the file to the Director of Public Prosecutions, Charles Leacock, for his attention. This follows a public apology issued by the Attorney General, Adriel Brathwaite, in an exclusive interview with Barbados Today yesterday. Brathwaite describes the shooting as unfortunate and says he is sorry for the anguish and pain currently being felt by members of the Knight family.
I should have begun by saying how profoundly sorry that I am to the Knight family for the loss of a father, loss of a husband, loss of a friend, and loss of a brother. It is always very, very sad whenever we lose one of our citizens. It's never easy when someone loses a loved one. It's never easy when, for me as Attorney General, when someone loses life at the hands of the Royal Barbados Police Force. And I see various comments on Facebook, etc. Mine is not a role to judge the legality or otherwise of the shooting. I have not seen any kind of a report, and therefore all I can say at this time is that it's very unfortunate, always very unfortunate when there's a loss of life.
Just yesterday, Jamal Amal Skeet was remanded to prison for 2 years after appearing before a local magistrate and confessing to the burglary of the Knight's Dash Gap Bank Hall St. Michael home just before he was killed and his son Junior was shot in the back by a police officer. Barbados Today also understands that the officer responsible for the shooting is now on leave and ongoing counseling. In other news, the economic challenges facing Barbados are not isolated to the country, so says Prime Minister Forde as he defended his government's fiscal adjustment program. Speaking in Parliament yesterday, Prime Minister Stewart made it clear that Barbados cannot be compared to the United States or the United Kingdom, even as he assured that all was being done to ensure that the country is back on sound economic footing.
It is not easy for countries like Barbados and the other countries of the Caribbean, countries which, I beg your pardon, have had to be saying to the world, I said it in Samoa, I've said it to the Prime Minister of Japan, I've said it in the United Nations, wherever I have gone, I've said it. I said it at the CELAC meeting in Cuba recently, that GDP per capita and so on, that index does not reflect Barbados' reality or the reality of countries in the Caribbean.
Meantime, Youth and Culture Minister Stephen Lashley is calling for Barbados to develop schools of excellence for sports and creative industry sectors. In his contribution to the debate on the Appropriation Bill 2015, Head 77 on education, Lashley says the education system must be repackaged and transformed to support the development of key economic sectors such as the creative industry and sport. The Opposition Shadow Minister of Education, Cynthia Forde, is calling on the Ministry of Education to enforce the dress code for teachers. She says some teachers are not suitably dressed for the classroom and they are in fact setting the wrong example for students who have to adhere to a dress code. At the same time, Opposition MP for St. James Central, Kerrie Symmonds, called for the stigma attached to vocational schools in Barbados to be addressed. In his contribution this morning, Symmonds charged that the island's economy and the education of Barbadians will continue to fail if that is not changed.
We were at a stage where people were still experimenting with the first 1 or 2 or 3 schools. That is a fact. So don't tell me we have destigmatized it. If it was at the forefront, every school in Barbados and all of the blocks, so-called, in my constituency would have opportunities for young men and women to go and say, I am here, I want to be trained so that I can have a skill. I can be accredited so that I can go out there and hold up that accreditation paper. Whether I'm a plumber, a welder, a carpenter, a mason, a butcher, baker, or candlestick maker. Hold up the paper so that I can have an equality of opportunity with the lawyer and the doctor and the engineer so that I can move my services not only around Barbados but into the wider Caribbean.
He is satisfied with the service that social workers are offering, but the head of the Barbados Association of Professional Social Workers says there's still room for improvement, and Bertram Bisham wants a greater focus placed on the disabled community.
We work really to help improve the state of people. So we move them from where and try to get them in a better place. And we do the same thing when they do this, right? Work with people. And as I said, they focus on ensuring that people, no matter who they are treated with dignity. Right? Because that's one of the planks of social work. Treating everybody with dignity, respecting the rights of people, that sort of stuff. All of us may not be the same, but we are people.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Secure your future, be financially strong. Since 1983, we have been there for you. A smart range of products, great tax benefits. We're the solution to your hopes and your dreams. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. Humble beginnings to smart loans, smart savings. Save smart and borrow smarter. That's the move for me. Stability, prosperity. We're the solution to your hopes and your dreams. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union.
On the regional scene, Jamaican police are on the hunt for the perpetrators of a drive-by shooting that claimed the lives of 4 men last night. A fifth man is now warded in hospital following the attack in Duane Park, St. Andrew last night. Reports are that about 10:30 p.m., a group of men were sitting on a bridge in the area when gunmen approached them. They then reportedly escaped in a waiting blue Toyota motor car. And finally, on the international scene, at least 7 foreign tourists and 1 national were killed today after gunmen targeted a museum in the Tunisia capital. British, Italian, French and Spanish nationals are said to be among those taken hostage.
And as far as I know, maybe as many as 200 people in the museum. Many of them managed to escape, and we're not sure how many people are being held hostage.
Yasmin, as you're speaking, we are looking at the first images coming in from this situation from just a short time ago. Obviously, the view is limited. It looks as though it is a fluid situation, and the photojournalists taking cover along with some security forces. They appear to be standing behind security forces with their guns drawn. Yasmin, do we know anything about the gunmen or the people perpetrating this? Do we know how many they are? They were described as wearing camouflage. What can you tell us?
Well, the information is so far very hazy, but I believe that there's at least 2 gunmen, and there's a lot of suspicion that it's not yet confirmed who they are, but that they might be associated with the group Ansar Sharia, which is the same group that was, as we know, linked to the killing of the American ambassador in Benghazi in 2012.
And that's our Barbados Today afternoon updates, but you can join us again this evening. Until then, remember to log on to www.barbadostoday.bb, subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook. You can also catch us on iZoomi Media and bus terminals or screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. Also tune into Channel 101 online TV, as well as Mix 96.9 FM to get all the latest news and sports. I'm Fernella Wedderburn. To have a wonderful day.
This news update is brought to you by...
So, I'm meeting Rico later. Gotta check in with the girls, but first, let me check my usage on the MyLime app. Now, what should I wear? #sexy.